as we talked about before, the comprehension of the art of war and peace is based upon the belief that conflict itself is inevitable. And when we say conflict, we're talking about disagreement upon any particular subject, whether it be something simple or it can be more and more complex. But the idea is that when you wake up in the morning, that the conditions or the situation that we have will be changed because there are other people who will directly or indirectly influence what's going to happen to us. We don't always get our way, basically. But the idea is that we don't get our way based upon the thought that I want to have my way, right? We get our way in based upon the thought of how can I achieve it. So what happens is in bringing forth the idea of how I can achieve something brings in the factor of contemplation, examination, based upon a foundation in which we have set that we will not go below that. So here we say, in general, as in war, so it is in peace, is the basis or reality that's going to cause us to understand how to practice the art of war and peace.
I have a question regarding that. Would you say that when it comes to a conflict or tensions that we ourselves create, is it more likely that we create some kind of disturbance when we expect from the others or from circumstances to be according to our liking? Does it trigger more possibility for conflict?
A lot depends upon what your goal is. There's no real set factor that is always going to happen the exact same way. So we have to understand when we traverse various problems, the problems are going to change, and what we have to do is to be able to adapt our own selves to the changing atmosphere or the changing surroundings, what the conflict is. The art of war and peace is about how we present ourselves to a point that we can overcome problems that confront us. Right? Does that make sense? It's not about what the external conditions for a conflict will change. You know, what we internally decide what we're going to do is what we call setting the foundation of the template. You know, understanding what if we do this, and this, then the outcome of the situation will either escalate, de-escalate, you know, or you know, it will be something that, you know, with ease that we can overcome. The principal point of the art of war and peace is our capability to overcome problems that present ourselves. And how do we do this? We do this through informing ourselves what is necessary, how I should enact with these whatever problems or whatever it is that might come up. So here we have at the beginning the art of war and peace. Understanding is seeking the object from the correct perspective. Understanding of how to deal with the problem is no more than looking at correctly or understanding in its entirety what exactly are we facing. You know, it's like the flow of water that's coming down from a mountain, and it encounters an obstacle or a boulder or whatnot. The way in which the water overcomes that is depending upon the layout in which the problem itself presents itself. It can either accumulate power in order to overcome it or go over it, or it can find another path in which to traverse. So when I talk about the practice of the art of war and peace, it's not a simple thing. It's something that you really, really have to take a long time. In one of the sections, it talks about spending a long time contemplating the obstruction before actually engaging in it. So this is something that we have to do. We have to understand contemplation, contemplate, understanding, getting used to the idea of how it is possible to overcome. If you have the capability of overcoming or contemplating what's difficult and how you're going to arrange what you're going to do in relationship to that, then those things that are less complicated become easier for us to deal with. So understanding is seeing the object from the correct perspective. In this case, we're talking about, because we're talking about the art of peace, is we're talking about our moral standings, right? How we morally are going to overcome the problems. So there becomes a good foundation, and we'll talk about this, the notion of morality and relationship, that in relationship to our discussion. So the external and internal are developing our candlelight wisdom. Candlelight-like wisdom is very, very important, because it shows that wisdom itself, or understanding and insight, comes in many, many different stages. Just because of the reason that you read something about the art of war and peace, that you're not going to be able to go out and practice it. It's something that you have to become acquainted with how you practice, so that our wisdom, reading and understanding, is like setting the foundation in which a small little flickering light has its ability to illuminate. But when we start closing off all the different avenues in which the disturbances might come, what happens is that even though it's a small light, it starts to illuminate more. And this is the process that we're talking about, going through the process of trying to illuminate more our understanding of how we should practice. This is meditation, right? This is virtuous meditation, right? We can increase our virtuous meditation in accordance to various stages. We can increase it in accordance to the being of the smaller motivation. We can increase it the intermediate motivation or the higher motivation, right? The smaller motivation is just a thought that, well, if I do this in this particular life, in my future life, I will probably suffer, so better not do it now, is focused on the idea of what might come in the future. So therefore, in the future life, saying future life. So when I say the art of war and peace in this case is something that we are trying to force or project ourselves in relationship to the consequences that we might have to experience in our future life. Intermediate would mean in terms of gaining liberation from having to experience such type of suffering. And then the greatest, or the highest, is that of developing our understanding and motivation to the point that we will work for the benefit of others. So there are many different levels of contemplation.
So thank you very much, and please subscribe to our channel and like our videos. Talk to you all next time.
Very good. Yeah, I'm glad for bringing that up. The whole thing is that this process works on algorithms, and the more people they come and they like what we're doing and they subscribe, what happens is that our discussions become more and more exposed to the public. So please tell other people about what we're doing. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and whatever is necessary, we're going to continue on giving such teachings. Next week or next time from this point, we're going to continue talking.